the marquee matchup in Week 1. Josh Allen and the Bills hosting Lamar Jackson and the Ravens in a divisional round rematch. Buffalo won that meeting with the help of 3 Baltimore turnovers. The 2 most recent MVPs emphasized the importance of ball security ahead of Sunday night's game.
You talk about Lamar, he's one of the best players to touch the grass, honestly. And you can't give him more opportunities than he needs. You can't give him short fields. He'll take advantage of those. So being on the top of our game on the offensive side of the ball and doing everything that we can, and we don't play on the offensive side. We don't play the quarterback. We play the defense and the defensive coordinator, and just doing everything that we can to really help our defense out.
What do you think is the biggest key for you guys to change the result?
Don't turn the ball over. Finish drives, put our team in a great position to win. Me just going against my guys and pretty much knowing my guys in and out, like the defense is in and out, it's like, man, I can't wait to play my opponent. I'm tired of playing against my team. It's time to take our frustration out on those guys. So that's pretty much how I look at it.
I'll be the first one to admit it. It doesn't matter who we're playing. It's just that first game, there's something special about it. It's the emotion that's in the entire stadium. Obviously, it's the last home opener here in this stadium, and I think fans are going to feel that and give us the juice that we need to try to perform the best we can.
The NFL season kicks off Thursday night on TSN. Eagles hosting the Cowboys as a big favorite. Chiefs face the Chargers in Brazil Friday. Casey's won 7 straight head-to-head meetings. Sunday night, it is that Ravens-Bills matchup. Both teams among the top 3 choices to win the Super Bowl. Week 1 wraps up with the Bears hosting the Vikings on Monday night. And now it is time, ladies and gentlemen, for me to walk over and reveal our special guest of the evening. You know him. You love him. It's Luke Willson. He's back, everybody, after an incredible summer. How are you, pal?
I'm doing well.
Good to see you. Come up here. There it is. Awkward bro greeting. We did it. Hey, what have you been up to this summer? Just hanging around CFL games on Friday nights?
Hanging around CFL games. That's pretty much it, I've been a little active online, too.
Yeah. I caught some of that. You love the game. You have some good ideas for the game and how you might want to change it and things you might want to stay the same, I guess.
Yeah, I'll tell you this, Jay. That atmosphere, that CFL atmosphere is one of a kind.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're coming for my head over here.
They're coming for my head. They love what you bring. They love your energy. We're going to talk CFL a little later in the show with you. I want to ask you some questions because I know you're going to be in Ottawa on Friday night for that one. But, Sunday night football, Ravens-Bills. I love this matchup. Yeah. Your boy, Brian Hayes, has the Bills winning the Super Bowl this year. Your boy has the Bills winning the Super Bowl this year. In fact, I will say this, Luke, he's not the only one. They're a very sexy pick right now to win the Super Bowl. So do you want to start the season on the right foot with the Mafia? How are you feeling about the Bills this year?
I feel great about them.
Yeah.
If that's the right foot, I feel great about them. Am I going to go as far as Brian Hayes? No, but there's a but here. I think that they're one play, in that top 3. I'm not going to sit here and say they're my favorite, but they're very, very close. Look at last year. They were one play away, to get in there. Do I think that they would have beat the Eagles? I don't. I think the Eagles were that strong. But right now, if you were to ask my rankings, I've got them number 3, and there's a part of me that wants to go to number 2. I get a little nervous. Obviously, with Josh Allen, you're in great shape.
Absolutely.
I love the Josh Palmer signing.
Right.
I think that's a huge ordeal. I think offensively for Bills fans, 2 things you're going to want to see is Kincaid really develop. You draft this guy as a tight end in the first round, and the other one's going to be Keon Coleman and what he can do in his second year. Those are 2 key things I think need to happen. Obviously, Cook had a huge year last year. The O-line's good. The offense is in great shape.
Yeah.
Defensively, there's 2 big question marks for me. One is which Joey Bosa you're going to get. I think Joey can be the man.
Such an intriguing signing.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
But is he going to be healthy?
Yeah.
Or not? And when he is healthy, is he the same guy that we're used to? So there's a big question mark there. If he is the same guy from a couple years back,
look out.
I'm bumping them to number 2.
It's interesting all the things he said about the atmosphere around the team and how much better it had been than the previous stop. So that's obviously a positive sign. He likes being there. That's a good sign.
Big time. And the last question mark I have for them right now, and it's not the end of the world, but Benford and Tre'Davious White have not practiced this week.
Right.
You know, and it kind of sounds like last year.
Secondary,
I think it's great when the starters are there.
Right.
But it gets very, very thin. And when you're playing Lamar Jackson, you know, it's probably not ideal to not have your top 2 corners in.
That's a fair assessment. Kansas City Chiefs, has the bloom come off the rose a little bit for this team? Where do you know, obviously they didn't get the three-peat. You would think that Mahomes, you would think that Kelsey, you would think that Andy Reid that would be the perfect motivation for them to get back to where they need to be. Do they have what it takes to get back to where they need to be, or is this team actually going to fall off even more?
So to be honest, Jay, I think there's a real false narrative being built around this team.
Okay.
You know, and let me just I have the Bills ranked slightly ahead of KC. So
okay.
Bills Mafia, you got to be happy with me for that.
Yeah,
Slightly.
If anything, you should be getting flowers for that. Yeah.
But it's all very close. Kansas City to me is right there. And there's this narrative, like, because they were blown out by Philly, like, oh, man, they're over the hump. This is a team that last year went 15-2, and I don't even count the second loss because it meant nothing. It was the last game of the year and Mahomes didn't start.
That's right.
In a division with 3 playoff teams. And they say, oh, the games are close. The games are always close. This is the NFL. That's a skill. Winning 1-score games is a skill. Getting the job done, making plays. And now I look, you drafted out of Ohio State a tackle that apparently has done well in the first round. We'll see how he plays. There'll be some learning curves there.
Yeah.
You've got a swing tackle that you signed from the Niners. So you've tightened up the offensive line a bit. I know he's suspended right now, but when Rashee Rice gets back,
and he will be back.
That is a huge ordeal, and he was cooking last year before the injury.
Yep.
By the end of the year, Xavier Worthy looked incredible. Hollywood Brown is still there. You still got Juju Smith-Schuster as your possession guy.
A lot of depth.
A lot of depth at wideout.
Yep.
Pacheco, Hunt as your 1-2 at back. Like, this team is reloaded. Let's not get it twisted. This team has reloaded. This is a 15-win team from last year, and you've still got a lot of ball players on defense. Oh, with arguably the best defensive, there's a couple of guys that throw in the conversation, but arguably the best defensive coordinator in the league.
Let's talk about the NFC North. Fascinating division. Of course, your Detroit Lions won it last year in a walk.
Yeah.
Not everybody focusing on the Lions now, especially with the recent Micah Parsons trade to the Green Bay Packers. How difficult do you feel, Luke, that it will be for the Lions to repeat?
Very difficult. Very difficult, Jay. But it's not a shot at the Lions. To me, that's the best division, including the Bears. I obviously don't have the Bears in the same conversation as the other 3, but I don't think the Bears are a slouch of a roster.
You have to believe Caleb Williams will take another big step this year.
1,000%. I think Ben Johnson's a very big upgrade there.
Yeah.
And I think they have a lot of pieces on that roster. So let's go back to the Lions, though. It's a very tough world to be in when you lose your offensive coordinator and your defensive coordinator in the same year. And then not your best offensive lineman. I think there was a case that Frank Ragnow was your second best guy and really kind of, the backbone of that offensive line retires. That's a huge loss. They're still very strong at tackle with Decker and Penei Sewell. Jared Goff, I love the guy. You love the weapons. Montgomery and Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Laporta, Jameson Williams. Like, this team is loaded. But the interior line, and I do have some question marks, and I think the most pressure is on both of these coordinators to get the job done, because Minnesota, depending on JJ, is going to be sick. Going to be good.
And tough act to follow the coordinators who were there before, right?
Very tough.
Yeah.
Especially offensively.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned Green Bay. Like, you expect Jordan Love to take the next step. You just signed Micah Parsons. Like, that is a very, very good squad. Josh Jacobs, especially at the end of last year, the bell cow.
Yes.
I think the Lions have the ability to do it, but the coaches really need to perform.
If you had to pick right now, would you pick them to win it?
No.
To win the division? No.
No, I would. I think Green Bay gets it done this year.
Okay.
I think they finally get over that hump.
Taking it a step further, is Green Bay the NFC team that you think has the best chance to challenge the Eagles, or do you think another team has a better chance?
It's another team. And I hate saying it, Jay. My head's going to explode right now. I don't like saying this. I think you know where I'm going.
Here we go.
I think you got to put the 49ers in the conversation.
Fair enough.
And that, as you know, I don't love saying that. And I'll kind of give you my reasoning here. One, I know we haven't talked about it a ton, but it seems like CMC is healthy.
Yeah.
Let's not forget how good this guy is.
Oh, my God, totally.
Secondly, we just talked about coaches. There's a little bit of football lineage here, but if you look at the offensive side of the ball, they signed Clay. They've got Clay Kubiak, not to be confused with Clint Kubiak.
Correct.
Not to be confused with Klein Kubiak, who's my college teammate, 3 brothers.
Weird.
But Clay Kubiak is their offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And the lineage there of Kyle Shanahan, Mike Shanahan, Gary Kubiak, they all know. They're all lined up. Trust me when I say that everybody on that offensive staff is going to be bought into exactly what they're trying to accomplish.
Right.
And that offense is going to look very, very good. And I think Ayuk will come back later in the year. You go Juwan Jennings, CMC, Purdy got the big deal. You still got Trent Williams.
Purdy got the big deal, and that changes things, right? Salary cap-wise. So the clock is ticking in some ways for this team.
And I think it already has to a degree with the defense. The defense is a little more thin, but I talk about coaches a lot. Bob Saleh is back as the D coordinator there.
That might be the sneaky best move of the entire offseason.
And now I sit there and I say to myself,
so excited about Robert Saleh.
Yes.
Yeah.
I go, you got an unbelievable D coordinator. You've got an unbelievable offensive staff. You've got a ton of, I didn't even mention Kittle, a ton of pieces on the offense.
Yeah.
If they stay healthy, that team is a force to be reckoned with.
And Kittle's great. You know, he's going to be in the wrestling ring like any day now, but he's still great. Dallas Cowboys, weird situation with Parsons. Another example of why you probably should hire an actual general manager and not run the team if you're the owner. But that aside, do you think they're going to be as bad as everyone seems to think they're going to be?
Defensively, yes.
Wow.
Offensively, no.
Okay.
So we'll start with the positives for the Cowboys fans out there. Pierre LeBrun.
Yeah, well, a lot of them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
We forget that George Pickens is on this team.
Right.
Jay, I know George has some off-the-field issues. I wouldn't even say that, just kind of some locker room stuff in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
If he turns over that leaf and you can roll out here with CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens and a $60 million quarterback.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, yeah. No, on paper, I love the acquisition of Pickens. The other thing I'm concerned about, beware the wide receiver that Mike Tomlin deems expendable, as they always say.
So offensively, I think they're going to cook. I think if Dak plays well, which is a big if, he's kind of been hot and cold at times. I also don't mind their running back room with Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders.
Yeah.
And they've really invested a lot through the draft in their O-line. So I think offensively they'll be a lot better than what people think. And their head coach, my former offensive coordinator, Brian Schottenheimer, is an offensive-minded guy. Defensively, it's going to be a bear for them.
Yeah.
It's going to be, I mean, and you're in a tough division with the Commanders. You're in a tough division with the Eagles.
Yeah, Commanders are coming up.
Yeah, so I think there's some holes there. Yeah, so I think there's some holes there. Let's keep it. I'm trying to stay more positive.
It's so amazing how the lineage, the Marty Schottenheimer, Brian, it's just amazing, right? How the coaching tree continues. You may be the biggest Aaron Rodgers apologist at this network. All right? You're proud of it. He's still playing. He's in Pittsburgh now. I just brought up Mike Tomlin. I love the move. It was like two desperate parties that both needed each other. What better guy could you possibly have gotten? The only question is that's a tough division, you know, with Baltimore in that division. That's going to be a tough one for them. How do you see them competing?
So this is what I'll say. Do I think Aaron is in his prime? Obviously not. You know, I did just listen to Tom Brady on a podcast say that Aaron's the greatest thrower of the football in the history of the NFL.
Fair enough.
So that made me feel good about being the leading TSN apologist of Aaron Rodgers.
Definitely. I mean, if Tom Brady's saying it.
Yeah. But I'll say this. I think that Pittsburgh has been in the conversation or in the playoffs the last few years with Kenny Pickett at the helm, with Mason Rudolph at the helm.
Fair point.
With Russell Wilson at the helm and not the Russ that I played with.
Yep.
I really think it's an upgrade from what they've had. I really believe that. And DK is going to be stretching the field.
Oh, boy.
You've got a go ball guy there.
Talk about a weapon.
And now all of a sudden you're going to need Roman Wilson to make some plays. But do I think they're going to have an electric offense? No, but when you got TJ Watt, when you got the defense they have, you know, Patrick Queen, they're going to be good. Like a Mike Tomlin team with a better quarterback is going to win games.
It's kind of a no-brainer. And the other thing I love about a Mike Tomlin team is there's no question the culture is established. You're not coming in, no matter who you are.
Yes.
Even Aaron Rodgers. It's not like the Jets.
Yeah.
He's not coming in and running things and saying, this is how we do things now. No. That guy's in charge. So I like it a lot. I like it for Aaron Rodgers.
It's a good, you don't want to see a guy, whatever you feel about Aaron,
Totally.
you don't want to see a guy who's done this much great things in the league end on such a brutal, sour note as a player.
Totally agree with you.
I will say, one thing that got me a little irritated this year was when Aaron was like holding out or whatever was going on, and Hayward was like, either you want to be a Steeler or you don't.
Yeah.
And then 2 months later, he's sitting out of camp because he wants more cash.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, either you want to be a Steeler or you don't.
Right, exactly. Well, we'll probably get that line from Aaron over the next little week or so. Okay, let's look at the odds to win NFL MVP. A lot of the familiar names, right, Luke? The names we're used to seeing. Well, Jaden Daniels moving up the list here.
Yeah.
That could be very interesting to see. But, you got the Jacksons and the Allens and the Mahomes and the Burrows. Who do you like this season? Who jumps out at you?
Honestly, out of this list, you can't go wrong, but I would probably say Mahomes. And the reason I say that is I do believe that Xavier Worthy, especially towards the end of last year, kind of saw it, is going to be their stretch the field guy.
Right.
And if Rasheed can stay out of trouble and get on there and kind of be the everything else guy, he can still go down the field, but the underneath kind of deep digs, that situation, I think the O-line's better. I think, especially when you talk about these great athletes and these great, I would call Mahomes already a legend of the game. When they get beat in the Super Bowl as badly as they did, generally speaking, they come back and stick daggers in people.
Yeah.
So it would not surprise me if Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid had a big offseason, let's put it that way.
A lot of talk about Taylor Swift maybe playing the Super Bowl this year. That's another bit of motivation. They'd like to be there for that. Before I get to your Super Bowl pick, and I can't wait for that, is there a team that people maybe are sleeping on this offseason? A team that maybe people should be talking about more?
Another very, very tough one for me here because it's in the same division, but it's got to be the Los Angeles Rams.
Oh, Rams.
Now, the Matthew Stafford question is the big one because how healthy is he and how healthy will he be? But, yes, you lost Cooper Kupp. You got Devontae Adams, who, by the way, at the end of last season was shredding.
I love that acquisition.
Love that acquisition. Sean McVay is an offensive, obviously, guru in this league. So you've got a great combo with Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams, Matthew Stafford throwing the ball. Kyron Williams might be the most underrated back in the league.
Fair enough.
Now you go to their defense. Beginning of the year, they struggled very, very young. End of the year, they're one of the best defenses in the league. I mean, you look at Jared Verse, look at how young they are across the board. This is the next thing. Because right now, and rightfully so, we have the Eagles on this pedestal, and they deserve to be there. But if we go back and roll the tape into the playoffs last year, Matthew Stafford was leading a 2-minute drive in the snow to beat Philadelphia, and a young offensive lineman missed 2 calls that freed up Jalen Carter that ended that game. Really had nothing to do with Matthew or any of their players. It was a communication issue up front. And the reason I'm saying that is they weren't that, by the end of last year, they were not that far off going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They gave Philly the hardest game they had. So I'm just saying it's a tough division, but if Matthew stays healthy, look out. There's your sleeper.
Okay, I like that as a sleeper, and it makes me realize when I think about the NFC West, you mentioned the Niners are going to be good. You say the Rams are going to be good. Feel like the Cardinals are going to be better. Are you worried about your Seahawks?
Honestly,
it's the Sam Darnold era.
It's the Sam Darnold area, but I think he's a perfect fit for Clint Kubiak, not to be confused with Clay, not to be confused with Klein. Okay? I think him and Clint Kubiak will really gel well. I think that's kind of the system. They've got 2 backs there. They're going to want to establish the run game. Mike McDonald comes from, Baltimore.
Defensive-minded guy.
Yes, so the defense looks really good. So I like that whole division is also very, very tough.
Resurgent NFC West. Okay, it's time. It's that time again for Luke's Super Bowl pick to start the season. First of all, who makes the Super Bowl, who's in it, and who wins it?
I'm going to go from the NFC. I think Philly finds a way again. I think they're that. I know it's not exciting, but I got to be honest. But I think they lose in the Super Bowl to the Baltimore Ravens.
Whoa!
I really think this is the year. I think, especially, I know we just talked about it before the walkover, ball security. Ball security in the playoffs. Lamar hasn't played super well in the playoffs. I think that's kind of the final thing he needs to check off. I think he get it done this year. Henry too. You'd love to see that.
That'd be great.
You know, they're loaded at receiver. A couple big name guys. And I know he's an older guy, but I like Hopkins there.
Yeah.
You know, because you got Zay Flowers, you got Bateman to stretch the field. Hopkins be that underneath big body guy.
Yeah,
Tough catch.
How can you go wrong with him as a third option?
Bingo.
Right?
The defense.
Yeah, probably a future Hall of Famer at the end of the day.
Bingo.
Yeah.
And you got Jair Alexander. You know, I think he's going to mesh a little better there maybe than he was in Green Bay.
Yeah.
And the defense was already good.
Man, that division is loaded. That's going to be fun to
I
watch.
can't wait.
The whole season's going to be fun. CFL's been fun. We've loved you on Friday Night Football. After the break, Luke's going to be back. We're going to talk about the potential return of Chad Killey. Plus, we'll check in on the women's side of the United States Open. Luke, you've been watching a little tennis?
I've been missing out on the tennis, Jay.
That's fair. Can only watch so many sports.